Today on the Happy House, I'm going to show you my favorite way to eat zucchini. Then I'm going to show you how to make this amazing lemon rice with these delicious steak kebabs. The kids and I take a break and have a fabulous tea party, and we invite Manuel to be our special guest. Plus, we'll show you this great idea that the girls came up with to organize their earrings. You don't want to miss this. All right now on the Happy House.
They're basically pancakes, but thin.
And what do we have going on over here? So you're cooking on the table.
Oh, there's no room. I'm making games over here.
Well, this is me without makeup. It's early in the morning on Martin Luther King Day, so I have a good reason not to have any makeup on. But Gabe just made crepes and Paisley made sausages, and they're looking for things to fill their crepes with. So I went in the pantry and I was reminded of this locally made jar of guava preserves. It's made in Logan, Utah, and it only has 1 gram of sugar in it. So they're gonna go ahead and put some guava filling in their crepes, and I think it's gonna be mighty tasty. And as they were clearing out all of their Christmas inventory, I got this deal, $2.50 for some spiced cherry preserves. So they're gonna have a little bit of fun this morning. So the girls had a chore today, which was to clean their rooms. And part of cleaning their rooms was bringing out all of their jewelry boxes, because they have many, and organizing them so that they can finally find their earrings. And Paisley said, "Mom, what should we do? I have all these pairs of earrings, but now that I've separated them all, how do I keep them as pairs?" So I thought about it for a second, and I thought, styrofoam. We have lots of blocks of styrofoam because Manuel works on his train set downstairs. He's building that train village, and so he has lots of foam. So Paisley was like, all right, let's try it. So she grabbed a block of foam, and lo and behold, this is the result. How does it feel to have organization come to your jewelry?
Horrible.
Good.
Because now I can just grab a pair of earrings.
Yeah, you have
Same with me. And some of these earrings I haven't worn in like a year because I couldn't find them.
Did you guys realize you had that many earrings?
No.
You thought
Actually, yes, I thought I had more than this. I thought I had like 1,000. But I lost like half of them. So. Okay, so basically what you do. Basically what you do is just do stuff. That's what you do. You take off the earring back, and then you put it in a box. Bogus. And then you stick it onto the styrofoam. I don't know what this is. Bogus.
Nice.
Bogus. And then you can find it easier.
Such a good
bogus. And then you can just find the earring back whenever you want it.
Yeah. This is such a great way to organize your earrings. Like that.
Yeah, sure. Look, I got, these are mix and match. Mix and match hearts and mix and match bows, and those are mix and match. I got my dolls in.
Yeah. How long has this taken you guys?
Like, 1 day. No, 1 day.
No, because we haven't
been here the whole day. Hour.
An hour. So here's where they keep all their backs. They just keep them all together in a little box. So if you have the same problem and you don't know how to keep your earrings sorted, styrofoam is your answer. So tonight we are taking it easy, and we are just gonna have a potato bar. I like to top off the potatoes for everybody, put them in a casserole dish, put them in the oven, and then put some fresh toppings on top. This whole dinner takes no more than 20 to 25 minutes. Let me show you. I cooked the potatoes in the microwave until they were soft and fluffy. Then I placed them in a casserole dish, split them open, gave them each a squeeze so they would open up and pop out for that nice fluffiness. I melted some butter over the top, sprinkled some salt and pepper, and then added toppings. I added tomatoes, green onions, cheddar cheese, and bacon bits. And then when it came out of the oven, it was nice and hot. I cooled it down with a sour cream drizzle. This was so easy and so delicious. So we are getting ready to have lunch right now. We're having some friends over for lunch. So the girls have been hard at work helping me clean and get the kitchen ready. And right now I'm preparing the food. We're gonna keep it simple: soup, salad, and cheese toast. We cleaned up the kitchen and put out some extra special touches. I started off by whipping up some deviled eggs with some mustard, mayo, salt and pepper, and a dash of paprika. Next, I took a family-sized can of tomato soup, and instead of water, I added half and half to make it extra creamy. Sprinkled on some Parmesan and served that up in our pink soup bowls. The girls were extra excited to help, so they set out all the pretty dishes and candles. I set out some grapes and prepared my favorite side salad. Then I melted some sliced Gouda cheese onto bread in the oven. It smelled delicious. And then it was time to eat. After lunch, we decided to go walk off those calories. You guys, it's not summer yet, it's not even spring yet, but let's talk about zucchini squashes, because come summer you're gonna start growing a lot of these, and the question always is, what do you do with all this zucchini and yellow squash? And I'm gonna share with you today a recipe I created last year that I absolutely love. More than making zucchini bread or just grilling it or whatnot, this is something that's really delicious, really simple. Most of my kids hate zucchini squash, but this is something they'll definitely eat every time. And this is also great for those yellow squashes that grow way too big, and so the skin gets really hard. You know what I'm talking about? It's really hard and bumpy, and it has a ton of seeds. Last year, I boiled those and then took a knife and sliced off the skins. They came right off because I boiled them, and just took a spoon and scooped out all the seeds. I used the rest of the flesh of the squash to make this recipe. So come this summer, if you have a lot of those really tough yellow squashes and you don't know what to do with them, here's a recipe where you can't go wrong. Because squash is out of season, I'm using frozen zucchini and a little yellow squash I bought from the grocery store. You're going to slice up your squash and zucchini and place it in a pot of boiling water. Then simply boil it until it's tender. Once the squash is tender, you're going to transfer it to a blender after you've drained the water. Then you're going to pour in enough chicken stock just to cover up the top of the squash. Go ahead and blend it all together until you get a nice puree. Transfer that back into a pot, and you're going to turn up the heat to about medium-high. As soon as it begins to bubble, you can turn the heat down to a simmer. Then add some half and half. Stir that in until you get this nice creamy color. Next, you're going to flavor the soup by adding some onion powder and then sprinkling in a little bit of garlic powder. Or if you're like me, a lot of garlic powder. Then go ahead and add some salt. Again, I like to use real salt because of the minerals and the much deeper flavor. After you sprinkle in that salt, go ahead and give it a stir as it continues to bubble. Then add some fresh cracked pepper. Stir it in and mix all those flavors together. At this point, I like to add in the rest of my chicken stock. Then a little bit of cooking white wine. After those flavors have simmered for a while, you're going to add in some Parmesan cheese. I like to do about half a bag. Let those liquids reduce for a while so that your soup begins to thicken. Then add just a little bit of white wine vinegar. Gives it just a little bit of tang. Then sprinkle on some fresh chives, or I like to use the dried lighthouse chives. Oh my goodness, you guys. My son's downstairs playing drums. Can you hear that? This is amazing. It's thick, It's creamy, a little bit of cheesiness. It is so good. I'm telling you, if your kids don't like zucchini or squash, they're gonna love this. If you've done it just right, then you've transformed it into something their taste buds are not gonna recognize. It's good. So again, come this summertime, you get some of those yellow squashes that are really thick. You know what I'm talking about. The skin is so thick, it's like hard plastic. There's not a whole lot you can do with that, except for this recipe. So again, don't even mess around with cutting it up. Just throw that whole entire squash in a pot of boiling water. Boil it for several minutes until it's tender when you poke it with a fork. Then drain the water, allow it to cool, put it on a chopping board, and just take a serrated knife and slice down the sides of it. Just slice off all that skin, and it will be so soft because you boiled it, it will just come right off. Then just cut it in half and take a spoon and just scoop out the seeds. And then with that leftover flesh, it's already cooked, just throw it in the blender and do exactly what we just did. Well, it's dinner time. And don't forget to top off your soup with some smoky crumbled bacon. Bon appetit. So tonight, we're gonna make steak kebabs and lemon rice. I mentioned in a past video an amazing way to make Brussels sprouts, and I'm gonna show you that tonight. I remember growing up and hating rice. I remember my mom would make rice often, and we would have it with just plain chicken, and it was just plain rice and plain chicken and some broccoli. And I would just slather butter all over that and as much salt as I could because I wanted flavor. So when I had kids, I decided I was always going to flavor my rice, unless I was making a dish with a sauce that you can serve over the rice. So one of my favorite ways to prepare rice is to make lemon rice. This is my own recipe that I created, and my kids love it. Every time I make lemon rice, we never have any leftovers because they clean it out, and they get so excited every time I make it. And what I love about lemon rice is it goes with so many things. You could have it with fish, chicken, pork, or beef. So we're gonna do ours with kebabs, with steak and broiled Brussels sprouts. And then we're gonna serve it with a nice cucumber salad. Sometimes I like to do a Greek theme with this, and I'll do gyros, or I'll make tzatziki sauce and put that over cucumbers. But tonight we're gonna keep it more simple. So let's go in the kitchen. Get out your rice cooker and fill it up with some jasmine rice. Tonight I'm using brown rice. Then you're going to fill it up with water just enough above the rice line. Turn it on and put it on the quick rice setting. Meanwhile, you're going to heat up a pan with some thin cut steak. I like to use frozen Philly cheese steak. Then you're going to add some Worcestershire sauce and cook that on medium-high. Then sprinkle on some onion powder and, you guessed it, some garlic powder. And finish it off with some sea salt or real salt. Next, you're going to add some Marsala cooking wine and allow that to cook for just a few minutes. Then you're going to add a little bit of red wine vinegar, which just enhances the flavor of the meat. Cook your meat until it's a little bit blackened but still juicy. Meanwhile, spray a broiler pan with some cooking oil. Then add some frozen Brussels sprouts. I like to use 2 small bags. Next, drizzle on some balsamic vinegar. Then sprinkle on some real salt and add a dash of onion powder. Broil these at about 500 degrees until they're just a little bit blackened. As soon as your rice is finished, you're going to add some butter and melt that into the steam. Give it a good stir. You want the rice to be creamy and fluffy. And now we're going to flavor it with some salt, some chives, and you're going to squeeze an entire lemon, both halves, over the rice. Be sure not to get any seeds in there. This is why I hold my lemon halves upright, so I can squeeze the seeds and keep them from falling in. Next, we're going to give our rice some color by sprinkling on some turmeric. Not only will this give the rice a deep yellow color, but it will also give it a rich flavor. Keep stirring it until every grain of rice is bright yellow. Then take your lemon halves and use the lemon rind to grate a lemon zest over your rice. This will give it the lemon flavor. Now you're ready to spoon the rice onto a serving plate. I do about 3 scoops per person. When the Brussels sprouts are finished, you're going to take those and your steak and place them on kebab skewers. Then you're going to lay those over your bed of rice and drizzle on some balsamic vinegar glaze. And there you have it, a delicious dinner that's sure to please. And now it's tea party time. Everything you see here is already pre-made. Yes, I bought the macaroons in the frozen section at Smith's, and the little crumble cakes were from the bakery. Then I even bought a strawberry glaze, boiled some eggs, made some sandwiches, and for the tea, we're using a winter spice tea that Gabe got for Christmas. I just took some green salad out of the fridge and bought these little shortcakes and a can of whipped cream. And there you have it, a simple winter tea party. And we're ready to have our tea. Alright, so the kids earned a tea party this week. They did their chores so well. I promised them if they continued, then by Friday we would have a tea party. So today's the big day, now's the big moment, and we are ready to begin. Hello!
My name's Jack. From the Titanic.
And what's your name?
Cambry.
Oh, of course. And you? Show me your little... Is it hot in here? Okay.
I have gloves and I have
Where's
a cream.
Father?
Got over there.
You were like 4.
Dad, can you pour some water in mine? Look. Mom, I thought you said we were not
Put the
supposed
bag in.
I thought you said... Apple. Mom, look, I had bread. Guys, we have to talk in a British accent.
Yeah.
This smells like
Do you want to put
pine
cameras
trees.
too?
Dad, Mom, this smells like
Yeah,
pine
keep it
trees.
going.
Macaroons. It
Okay,
smells like
that's gonna put your eye.
It smells like pine trees. How many macaroons do we get?
How about you just have one so you can have some other stuff too?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Which one?
Bless you.
Just leave it on there.
Mom, I can.